you're looking for a way to have your setup stand out in the crowd, look no further than the QR65 speakers from Edifier. Now, before I go deep into what all comes with the speakers and how they work, I did want to mention that they sound amazing as well. These are not my first speakers from Edifier. They do an amazing job with creating stuff, but once I saw these, I knew it was time for an upgrade, and let me just say they do not disappoint. You will notice on my setup, I have them on other stands. They do come with stands. The angle of the speakers just right to get that perfect listening experience, but I already had some stands that put them like on each end of my desk. So all I had to do was just 3D print, because the base on these are 3D printed. So I just 3D printed some new bases and just made them fit perfectly on my desk. I will put the link down below to the speaker stands, but just know the plate that comes with these are very huge. That's why I 3D print some myself. But in case you do want to replicate this setup, I will upload that 3D file for the base as well. Now, these speakers come with 3 different ways to connect them to your device. You can either do a USB cable. It is USB-A to USB-A. So if you're wanting that and you will have a newer Mac, you will need an adapter for USB-C, but it still does work really well. They also have a line in input. That's the way I'm currently doing, and a Bluetooth option, which we'll talk a little bit more about that here soon. But those are the 3 options, and either way does work really well. I went with the line in option because I felt like that was the less cumbersome option, and that's how my old speakers were connected. So it was really easy just to hook that back up to the cables I already had without having to like rewire a bunch of stuff. Now, these speakers have also been designed to actually power up your devices. So in the back, there is a USB port that is an out, and you can actually plug your phone in through there and charge it up. And it's a fast charge, so that's really nice to have if that is something that you need. You know, you want to have less cables, or however your setup is set. It is cool that they built that in, but everything is on the back of one speaker. You can see, you know, you have that line out, you have the USB, you have the extra charging cable support, but then there is also the connection cable. So this connects the 2 cables together. And I will say this was a little bit cumbersome to figure out because that cable was way too small for my setup. My desk is about 78 inches wide. This cable was maybe like 5 feet or so. So trying to get it in cable management was not an option. It wouldn't even fit between, I think, the 2 ends if I went straight across. I was lucky enough. I did some research. They call it just a connector cable, I'm pretty sure, but that's not really what it is. It is a 7-pin DIN cable. I will put a link down below to the cable that I end up using to extend it. It was just an extension cable. That was the best thing I could find to actually have something that could go from one end of my desk to the other. They also come in 2 different colors. You notice I got the black ones, but there is a white one as well. And they have like a leather texture around them, which gives them that nice high-end look. But let's go ahead and start talking about the lights themselves that are built into this. Now, there's just one string of lights, but there's like this mirror behind it. So it kind of just gives it that extension of like a layer look of the light system. On the side of the main speaker, there are 3 different control options. One is the mode. So this is where you'll switch between the line in, the USB, or the Bluetooth selection. The second option is a way to turn up and down the speaker itself, the volume of the speaker. Now, while you're turning up the volume, the color of the light will change, and it will actually close in the ring of the light. So as you're turning it up, you know how, like if you're at 50%, 100%, it kind of gives you that idea of how loud you're going to be turning this up. You can also press this button to play and pause audio. Now, the last option is the light brightness itself. As you turn it, it will go from its brightest setting to off altogether. And if you push in this button, it will change the lighting effects. So you can do that all from the speaker itself, but you also have the Edifier Connect app. that gives you even more control. And we're going to go through just exactly how all that works. So I got my phone right here, and you can see the Edifier Connects app is right there. I'm going to go ahead and launch it. And you can see it says, please connect Bluetooth for more control and settings. So as of right now, it's not actually connected because my speakers are actually in the line in mode. So what I actually have to do is I have to switch them to the Bluetooth mode to actually control the lights. And this is like one of those other things about these speakers that I wish was better. I don't want to use the Bluetooth mode for my connection because then it's going to be connected to my computer, not my phone, and I'm still going to come across this issue. So I do the line in mode for my computer and then the Bluetooth on my phone. I feel like that's a little bit easier, but I do have to hit that button on the speakers to switch it to be able to actually get that more control of my lights. So the light will flash blue, and now you can see it says it is connecting, and as it gets connected, we have all these different options. I'm not gonna do a review right now, but you have the lighting effects and the sound effects. So you can change the way it sounds. I keep it on classic. But let's go ahead and go into the lighting settings. So as you can see, you have a ton of different color options to choose from. I'm going to go ahead and click on the blue right here, and you'll notice the lights on the speakers themselves change instantly. You also have all these effects, so you don't have to select a single color or effect. You can go to like a rainbow look, and once that goes, you'll notice the speakers are dimming and coming back different colors. So it will go through pretty much all the color options when you're going through that effect. So I personally like the static, but we'll go through a couple others. Here's the rotating effect. So it just rotates around the speakers. You have the stacked effect, the magnetic, converged, floating, the breathing is pretty cool. Like, I do like this one a lot. And there's even more options. I'm not going to show you all of them, but you have a ton more. I really just like the static option. And then I just select a color that kind of already goes with my setup. So usually it's this kind of orange color, but just selecting that orange color doesn't always get me to the exact color of my other lights. So what you can do is in the static section itself, you can actually just tap it again. And now you have even more controls of those lights. So all I have to do is just move this around, and you see as I'm moving it around, it's changing the color of my light. I also have the brightness control, so if I don't want it as bright, I can change that as well. So it will even give you the hex number. So if you want to keep that in like memory somewhere, save it in a document, in case you ever accidentally change it and you want to get, because you got the perfect color, you can actually remember that hex number and you can go right back into it really easily. So even though I ran into a couple issues with that connect cable not being long enough and not even really knowing what it was because they just called it a connect cable, and then also the app itself, you know, I have to go into the Bluetooth mode to get the color just right for what I want, I still think that these speakers are hands down the best speakers on the market that you can get right now. And they upgrade your setup like no other. I get so many compliments on these speakers just because how different and how cool they look. So if you're in the market for some speakers, I highly recommend you check it out. The link is down below. I hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless.